Hello again. In this video, I would like to tell you about the requirements for your final presentation or the presentation of this week's assignments. So in this first week, we are looking for the first sketches, the first models, the first concept regarding your design. We're looking for some conceptual work, maybe sketches, drawing, or if you can make an abstract conceptual model that explain us what your concept is about. This is really where we want to begin. We don't want to go into like detailed design of modules, of materials, of joints, of structures. We'll get there, don't worry, and we'll guide you through the process. But in the beginning, we really want to understand what your concept is, what your idea is, and what inspires you for this project. And then we'll go artfully through this process until we reach the final stage of the design, where you will be able to show us and to design all the details and materials and everything so that your design can be picked, taken to a factory or on the side and built right now or right at that very moment. So in this week, we want to see the conceptual part. We want you to submit pages that are 11 by 17 American standard or A4, that is 29.7 to 42 centimeters, international standard. And in these pages, we want you to show us basically your design process. Like, what do you start with? What are your first intentions? What are your first sketches? What was the discussion among the members of your team on the design of this house that you are working on? Our goal is to start with a module. So we want to start with a module or some spatial module of the house that can later be scaled, adapted, expanded, aggregated to other modules so that it can produce the house. Normally in design, there are two main approaches, either the top-down or the bottom-up. The top-down, you start from the massing, you start from understanding where you are, you start from kind of this very schematic design of the volume, of the geometry, of the relationship between spaces, of maybe some conceptual idea that's translated into physical space. And then you go further on into more detail, into more specificity, into designing and defining the actual space of your projects. That's the top-down approach. The bottom-up approach, as opposed to that, is starting from a detail, starting for something small, maybe how a piece of a facade is designed, or how a structural frame is designed, or how a brick, if you want, is designed, and how this spatial module could be replicated later into a larger scale so that it can form the room, the house, and then the aggregation of houses into the neighborhood. So either way, you can decide what you would like to do. That's totally up to you. The first approach is the more common and probably the easiest one. But I really invite you to start with the concept and to have the concept, the thing that as kind of the guiding light or the guiding thread throughout your design process. And that's where we're gonna help you and we're gonna support you in the process until you really achieve and reach the maximum of your capacities and the best possible design that you can ever get. So I count on you for working hard with your team and getting inspired and getting out there and really designing something that is going to be impressive and something that is going to help all those people that need it. As I said, the format is clear, and in your presentation you can start with the concept and then maybe further on define, if you can, the spaces in terms of their spatial configuration, the relationship between private and public space, their structure or some ideas of structure. You need to define the materials, whether it's going to be steel or wood or concrete or anything else that you may think of, brick for example, or whatever is available either on site or prefabricated techniques. That's something that you have to research, and that's something that you need to design. The design and the site throughout your process. We would like to have some kind of spatial representation, either images of a model or a small 3D. If you can put it up together, there are millions of softwares now that allow you to do 3D models easily. And we want you to present your project maybe with a basic plan section and maybe something three-dimensional for this third week, at the end of this third week of our course. So we are starting with section and plan in the scale of 1 to 100. That will be just conceptual. We don't expect too much detail, but we want to see what is your first approximation to the design. And that's a good way to go. If you can make a sequence of models, maybe some of your team members can be designing the plans, or can be making the models, but if you can design a sequence of models, that would also be beneficial for your own design process and for us to really get a grasp of your ideas and understand what you are trying to design and then help you in your process. So I really look forward to seeing you at our virtual meetings on Saturdays, and also please post your designs to our Facebook group, your pictures, your sketches, your drawings, your plans, anything, so that we can give you feedback online and also in real time during our meetings.